In this video, I'll try to explain the principle behind Marion George's comedy videos, and we'll use the leading Russian formalist Viktor Shklovsky to do so. Hi, hello there. I'm David, and I promise not to use any more Marion George catchphrases until near the end of the video. Welcome to YouTube, a literary analysis. In this series, I combine my skills as a literary critic and a person who watches too much YouTube in order to explore videos more closely as works of YouTube art. Marion George is a Canadian comedy video creator with presence on YouTube and TikTok. I think a lot of people know him from the pitch meeting videos he creates for Screen Rant, but he also has a very successful YouTube channel of his own. His skits or sketches are usually only a few minutes long. He almost always plays all the roles. There are a number of recurring characters like the scriptwriter and the studio exec in pitch meetings, but overall the characters are very general. Most of the people he plays are basically some guy. The point of this video is to analyze and describe how Marion George's humor works. In other words, why does he keep making videos about the first guy to do something? Open a school, drink milk, punch, have a name? Why does he keep acting as inanimate objects like cell phones or concepts like social media? Why does he have a time traveler who explains the 2020s to an audience from the 1990s? Why does he present committees for naming things like fruits and tools? Why does he make fun of movies by reimagining their pitch meetings? I will answer such questions with the help of the literary theoretical term defamiliarization. Defamiliarizing is an idea put forward by Viktor Shklovsky. Shklovsky was a member of a group of literary scholars in Russia of the 1910s and 20s, who are often credited as some of the first critics to attempt a systematic understanding of literature and how it works. They are known collectively as the Russian Formalists. In the article Art and Technique from 1917, Shklovsky suggests that the defining feature of artistic, literary, or as he calls it, poetic language is its ability to defamiliarize, or in other words, to make the transparent because overly familiar visible again. I'm not saying that Marion George's videos are literature. They are videos, not literature, obviously. Still, their humor and cleverness lies in their ability to defamiliarize the overly familiar. Let me explain what Shklovsky means a little more, and then I'll give examples from Marion George's videos. Shklovsky points out that much of life is lived unconsciously or semi consciously. He quotes a diary entry written by Russian novelist Lev Tolstoy, where Tolstoy can't recall if he dusted a certain area of his room. If he did dust it, he did so automatically without noticing. I say that if you can't tell if you dusted a spot or not, then you didn't need to dust it in the first place, but that's not the point. The point is that much of life is unlived at all. We not only forget most of our lives, we don't even notice them to begin with. Or as Shklovsky puts it, we apprehend objects only as shapes, with imprecise extensions. We do not see them in their entirety, but rather recognize them by their main characteristics. We see the object as though it were enveloped in a sack. We know what it is by its configuration, but we see only its silhouette. The object, perceived thus in the manner of prose, prosaic everyday perception, fades and does not leave even a first impression. Ultimately, even the essence of what it was is forgotten. We go through our everyday tasks with little attention. We even have whole conversations without really noticing what we are saying or what the other person says. We don't really notice what others are saying. We just sort of assume we know what they are saying. You know what I mean? Yes, yes. Normal, non poetic language is digested quickly, so we don't really listen. Poetic language is different. Shklovsky writes, in art exists that one may recover the sensation of life. It exists to make one feel things, to make the stone stony. The purpose of art is to impart the sensation of things as they are perceived and not as they are known. The technique of art is to make objects unfamiliar, to make forms difficult, to increase the difficulty and length of perception. Poetic language is special and precious, Shklovsky argues, in that it slows down the process of thinking that you understand what is meant, or the process of understanding what you see. Literature uses different techniques to slow your perceptions down and thus make you notice and experience and feel things that you usually gloss over. As Shklovsky puts it, to make the stone stony again. Shklovsky gives an example of a Tolstoy story told from the point of view of a horse. Everything in the human world is strange to the horse, so the reader gets a new perspective on things that are overly familiar. It takes us a while to understand what the horse is seeing, because the horse doesn't have names for everything. This slowing and renewing of perception is what literature is for Shklovsky, and it is also the basis for much of Ryan George's humor. Ryan George uses different techniques to make us look again at common ideas and objects. For instance, for example, in the video, The First Guy to Ever Build a Snowman, he wants to have a fresh look at a common object in snowy places, the snowman. One guy invites another guy for a wintry outdoor activity. He can't say that he wants to build a snowman because under the premise of the video, snowmen were not invented yet. He just made them up. He needs to explain in detail what it is they need to do.
Okay, so what you do is you roll up 3 big balls of snow, right?
Isn't snow kind of powdery?
Sometimes, yeah, so you gotta wait for the snow to be a little wet, right? You need perfect conditions or this will not work.
Okay, already really limiting when this activity can be performed. Hey, what are you guys doing? Now this guy wants to make a person with me, so when it's wet and sticky, that's when we roll our balls together?
Exactly.
He causes us to look at this thing that we are used to seeing as a snowman, the one thing called the snowman, as a collection of components that don't really go together.
So once you've stacked these 3 balls, it's time to shove some eyes into its face.
Oh my, what are those anyway?
Those are made of coal.
Coal?
Yeah, you use coal so the eyes are jet black, just like human eyes.
Okay, I feel like your perception of people is a little screwy. Can you see me right now?
Yes.
Do you think I look like that thing?
Well, no.
Okay, good.
I haven't even put the nose on yet.
Oh, you think that's what's missing? Okay.
And I've got the perfect thing for us to put as a nose.
What is it?
The pointiest vegetable there is.
Weird way to categorize vegetables.
Yeah, you put a carrot as the nose. You know, that works with the bright orange sharp noses that people have.
He gives the snowman its snowiness back and its carrotness back and its coldness back, and makes us realize how strange and unfamiliar this creature you build with the snow is actually. This works for concepts as well. There's a first guy to ever be an artist.
Anyway, I just wanted to come out and show you some stuff I've been working on.
Okay, what am I looking at here? That is an apple. That's an apple?
Yeah, it's got the little stem and everything.
Huh, yeah, no, I guess it kind of does. Let me see that. Oh, yeah, sure. This is so weird.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, right? I've been messing around with some stuff that makes like colorful stains and wait, oh, no. What, no, what are you doing?
What are you doing? This apple sucks.
Well,
for us, it goes without saying that a drawing is not supposed to also taste like an apple. But going back to a moment when nobody knew what art is can make us pause and look at this thing that goes without saying and ask, why does it go without saying? Why does it go without saying that a sketch can look like an apple but won't taste like an apple? As you may be noticed, much of this defamiliarization happens through a kind of time travel. We travel back in time to a moment before Snowman, or art, or punching, or TV commercials. More or less everything else about the world is the same as today, but the one thing Ryan George defamiliarizes has not been invented yet. This kind of hypothetical return to a moment before something existed as a known, all too well known thing is the core of how Shklovsky describes defamiliarization in literature. Rereading the paper for this video, I was pleased to find this line. In War and Peace, Tolstoy uses the same technique in describing whole battles as if battles were something new. Shklovsky is basically telling us that his favorite novelist is doing a first guide to wage war. Ryan George loves time travel as a means for defamiliarization. In the naming committee's sketches, he goes back to a moment before common things were ever named.
Of a lot of body parts to figure out names for here. Got it. Can I actually go home early? My something hurts. Unfortunately not, since I don't yet know which part of your body you're referencing. All right, so we named this the leg, but what about the bendy part of it?
In It's the 90s sketches, he has a reporter present things that too quickly became the everyday reality of the 21st century to a 1990s host who has not experienced them yet. In pitch meetings, which I'll probably do a separate video about eventually, he goes back in time to a moment before a movie was a finished product and shows us how it sounds as a concept. It often sounds strange and ridiculous, unfamiliar, defamiliarized. Now you may say, David, you are talking about defamiliarizing, but Ryan George is not doing that at all. He reuses the same concepts again and again. After a while, he is really familiar. You'd be correct, of course. So I'll say something controversial here. Ryan George is not Lev Tolstoy, but rather a comedy content creator. As such, he mixes real defamiliarization with things that make his content more familiar and therefore easier to swallow. The characters in Ryan George's videos use many catchphrases. An overly familiar "Hi, hello there" is one example. "I wouldn't like that at all" is another. Pitch meeting videos are chock full with these catchphrases, everyone's favorite probably being super easy, barely an inconvenience. They are so regularly delivered to us that a viewer can expect when they will come. You might say that guessing when the phrase will show up is super easy, barely an inconvenience. Sorry, that was bad. I'll stop. On a higher level, the sketches often fall into formulas such as first guide to. The formula is used to defamiliarize, but the formula for the sketch is familiar. You'd think that the familiar would cancel out the process of defamiliarization, but that's not how it works, I think. This series of videos and catchphrases free up mental space to enjoy and think out the specific issue that is being defamiliarized. Of course, if you binge watch all of the episodes of a specific series, it becomes a little too repetitive, I admit. As a creator in a popular medium, Ryan George uses recurring formats to frame his defamiliarization. Sometimes, as with the Snowman sketch, it's good for a laugh, but sometimes his humor is a precious resource for noticing that we engage automatically in behavior that is not to our benefit. Ryan George is sometimes a satirist, even if his satire is almost never overtly political. Some of my favorite videos he made, and ones I am genuinely thankful that my kids watch, is those about smartphones and social media. In one of his shorts, George presents what it is like to wake up and immediately check your phone. This is a bad habit I have and mostly take for granted. One method of defamiliarization George uses is giving inanimate objects a voice and a face, his own face.
Hey,
Hey,
do it.
do it? You want me to do it?
Do it. Do the thing.
You got it. 5 new emails from your boss. Climate change. A famous person said something racist. A new law's being passed to stop women from breathing too much.
Going?
45 people saw your Instagram story. Jerry Seinfeld is canceled. There's a new kind of COVID probably.
Thus, instead of a neutral screen, the smartphone becomes a screaming face that shouts out a variety of news and notifications. The shouting is emphasized with a bright light from a projector, exaggeration being another method of defamiliarization, and canned metal music. This really makes you think about what you are putting your brain through by engaging with news, social media, and work demands before being fully awake. Perhaps my kids will think twice before they take up this bad habit themselves. To sum up, Ryan George is funny and compelling because he mixes recurring formats and phrasing with an ability to defamiliarize the familiar, allowing us to examine those things we are usually accept automatically that we don't even notice. Viktor Shklovsky's ideas from a century ago can help us explain what's funny about Ryan George's videos and even how his work is valuable. Let me know what you think I got right, what you think I got wrong. Let me know if you have any questions. Special thanks goes to my son Omer for helping with the research for this video. As always, if you think I made something simple more complicated, that's fine. Sometimes